So in this video, I did another video just now. I uploaded it, and it will give you the link to a free Big Five personality test. I'll put the link below as well. That's kind of explaining what the test is. I guess on this one, I'm going to explain the definitions or explanations for the 5 personality traits. I don't know whether I should go into how they can relate to your life, but it might be kind of obvious once I explain the definitions. So I've done the test as well, but I don't know if I'm going to share my traits. Maybe I'll do it on another video. Anyway, so if you're thinking about doing the test, you've done the test, or you just want to know a bit more about the Big Five personality traits, what they are. So they are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and natural reactions. I think it's actually called neuroticism, but this website says natural reactions. Maybe it's just like not to offend people, but who are neurotic, which is funny, if you know what that means. So first one is openness. And for all of these, I'm going to explain my opinion and my experience, what I think they are. And I read off the site what they've defined them as. So for me, openness is openness to new experiences. You know, like, do you want to try new things? Are you open to new ideas? Like, I guess if when everyone else, well, and not everyone, let's say you have a group of people and they think the earth is flat. I'm not saying, I know there's people who believe that now, but like, it's hard because I'm trying to think of one that won't cause arguments, but let's say you think the earth is flat and someone comes along with some evidence that the earth is a sphere. Are you willing to look at the evidence, weigh up the evidence, and then form a new opinion based on the evidence? Or are you just someone who is like, no, this is what I believe, these are my ideas, these are my traditions, I don't change my ideas? That's kind of what openness is. So openness is also linked to creativity. So if you're more open, you'll probably be more creative, and you will also score higher on IQ tests. So traditional IQ tests, you will probably have a higher IQ as well. So openness, yeah, it's a good trait to have. You would be creative, might be higher IQ, but you might start trying to think outside the box when that could be dangerous. Like some people, might survive better traditionally staying in the box. So it really depends what time period you're living in. Like all these traits survived for a reason. So they're all here for a reason, and they all have their pros and cons. So what they've described on the website, they have a low range and a high range scoring person. So someone low in openness, they've put as traditionalist, down to earth, practical, conservative, prefers traditional outlooks and technical problem solving, and their high is imaginative, open-minded, experimental, prefers creative, conceptual, problem solving. Now, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not going to I don't think I 100% agree with all their examples coming up, but I think it's a pretty good example. So next is conscientiousness. That's how hardworking someone is. We all know someone who we think, oh my God, they're so lazy. They just don't want to do anything. And there's someone else we might know who's like a workhorse. Like they're like insane, or that's how we see them. And conscientiousness is like how hard you want to work, basically. I think that pretty much summarizes it up. So they've put on the low range, spontaneous, disorganized, prefers flexible plans, dislikes precise details. And for their high range, they put conscientious, which is weird, disciplined, efficient, well organized, likes precise detail, strong sense of duty. Very high scorers could be described as workaholics. So yeah, it's basically how hardworking you are. There's pros and cons. Like if you work too hard, you, I don't know, theoretically might not have time for family and friends. But if you don't work enough, you might be seen as lazy or not be able to provide. Like, there's pros and cons to each situation, and combinations of these traits can like lead to major success in certain fields or major suffering too, depending what job you do, what field. So extroversion is next. I think most people know what this is, but for me, extroversion, introversion is about where you get your energy from. And like, even if you're anxious and you're extroverted, do you go out for a full day around people, having the day out? Do you feel better or do you feel worse? If you feel better, you're probably extroverted. If you feel worse, you're probably introverted. And you might get your energy from being at home by yourself. And that's how you recharge. So, again, this can have pros and cons. So if you're extroverted, you need that attention. And then if you're introverted, you might struggle in certain situations. So pros and cons. What they've put as their low range for extroversion, examples or points, is reserved, formal, serious, quiet, prefers working alone, avoids direct leadership roles. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I feel like they have to be serious or quiet. I don't know, but that's what they put. Hopefully I've summarised it up quite well as well. On their high range, they've put outgoing, friendly, assertive, likes working with others, enjoys direct leadership roles. Cool. So next is agreeableness. And also, if you have like certain traits, they can predict behaviour. So for example, if you're extroverted but less agreeable, you could be prone to narcissism. And I'll talk about agreeableness soon. There's like all these crazy things that it's crazy. Like once you start seeing the patterns, especially in like diagnosis, and it's like insane. So agreeableness, probably not what you think. Like agreeable, disagreeable. You're not going out of your way to fight with people. I guess some people are a bit like that, but you're more, how do I say, like you're going to do what you want to do if you're disagreeable. And if you're agreeable, you'll probably just agree with someone else. So, if you feel a certain way, do you just agree with the person to make them feel better, or because you're too scared, or whatever reason it is? Or do you say, no, actually, this is how I feel? Like, for example, you might say, no, this is how I feel, or I want to do this, and that's just how I feel. There's certain levels, but like you might be disagreeable and say, well, this is how I feel, but you hear them out and you're open to new ideas, so you might change your ideas, and they all kind of work together. So, and traditionally, like they say, certain roles are better for agreeableness, like people-based roles, because you might be more supportive. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to define what they are. So in the low range of agreeableness, basically disagreeableness, hard-headed, skeptical, competitive, proud, prefers competition over cooperation. And for high agreeableness, compassionate, eager to please, good-natured, prefers cooperation over competition and conflict. So, I'm sure you all know some people who are agreeable, disagreeable, somewhere in the middle, maybe even yourself. And last but not least, sorry, I know this is a long video now, but this takes a while to explain. The last they put is natural reactions, which is what I would describe as neuroticism. They talk about your natural reactions to things. I would say, like, let's say you have a unit. It's hard to measure, but let's say you have a unit of a bad thing happening. Someone who's neurotic will react worse to that one unit of stress or bad news than someone who's not neurotic. For example, let's say someone, lost their wallet, or their car got written off when they weren't in it, or, it's not too serious, but, or their car, I don't know, I guess that's quite a big one. Let's say you lose your wallet, but, nothing happens, you just cancel your cards, that's fine. Someone who's really neurotic will be like so distraught by it, and they'll be torn apart. But someone who's not as neurotic might be like, oh, it's cool, I'll just get a new one. I guess that's the kind of best way to summarize it. You like have less negative emotion generally, or more negative emotion. So in their description on the low range of neurotic or natural reactions, they put not easily upset in stressful situations, relaxed, resilient, calm. And on the high end, highly neurotic or natural reaction experiences negative emotional reactions and feelings of anxiety, prone to worry, easily upset. Now, again, all these traits have pros and cons. Like if you're too disagreeable, you'll never get anywhere in life with people. But if you're too agreeable, you might get used. Or if your natural reactions, if you're highly neurotic, you could not experience certain situations. But if you're not neurotic enough, you could die. Like there's a fear response and stress response for a reason. So, big variety. I guess I could do a video more about how they interact with different roles, or I guess I could talk about my results, but that's the definitions of the big five. It's quite a long video now, so I won't go on too much more. I'll put the link in the description, and I describe the test in the other video. But yeah, I hope that helps. Feel free to share with your friends. You can comment if you really want, like, your results, or talk about how do what you want to do. But yeah, I think it's cool. Hopefully it helps, and hopefully you can apply this to your own life and be like, wow, I never knew I was that. Maybe I should start doing this, X, Y, Z. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you later.